They also put the finance minister, kind of stripped him down, and now he's walking down the river getting beaten with a switch for abusing their finances. Burnt down the houses of other ministers, and the prime minister and other ministers. The airport has stopped all operations, and so the whole place has just gone wild. Social media revolution underway in Nepal. You can see protesters have torched their communist government state media building, and that's what it looks like right there. The clip originally came over from Ketchup, says they've torched it. It's all gone up in flames. They're overthrowing Marxists there who banned social media, and the AP was reporting on this, saying, yeah, they blocked Facebook, X, and YouTube. They said you didn't register with the government, and you have to register with the government so that we can monitor you and censor you, or else you can't be here. So they said on Thursday it's blocking most social media platforms, and the Minister of Communication said about 24 social media networks were given notices officially. They said your platforms are going to be blocked immediately. Internet didn't take kindly to that. TikTok, Viber, and 3 others would be allowed to operate because they all registered with the government, and TikTok has no problem censoring. So Nepal government has been asking the companies to appoint a liaison, and the bill has not been fully debated, but it caused a very massive reaction. And our friends over at hotair.com had a good sort of a recap of what happened here, saying that in Nepal, I'm not, real familiar with the region, you may not be either, but apparently household income is like $200 a month. Youth unemployment, 20% over there. Now, there's a major separation of wealth, and the elite are extraordinarily wealthy. And Gen Z uses the internet. Now, the elite wanted to stop the conversations about their corruption and their exploitation of their communist rule. And so they started an online campaign to showcase the various excesses and the privileged perk of being a child of a Nepalese political official. So they start publishing these things, a shaming of lifestyles of the rich and famous kind of a thing. Sharing this, particularly on TikTok, they were spotlighting the lavish lifestyles, highlighting the disparities between the rich and the poor. Protesters criticized them of their luxury possessions, where the per capita income is $1,400 a year. All these issues have made the youth there very dissatisfied. They saw no other option but to take to the streets. Then they got blocked and the place exploded. And in fact, they're even helicoptering people out of the region, and they're putting the parliament building in fuego. This is what that looks like there. So they just torched the whole parliament building in Nepal. They also put the finance minister, kind of stripped him down, and now he's walking down the river getting beaten with a switch for abusing their finances. So that's what's happening over there. And we also see people are being helicoptered out of the location. So Radio Genoa posted this. These are politicians, right? Just being evacuated from the top of the buildings by helicopters as people are down in the streets screaming about this. Yeah, they're pretty tired of getting taken advantage of by communists. You can understand that. Now, the prime minister's house was also set on fire, and I think, unfortunately, a woman died in the blaze, and it's going off over there. Here's more. Burnt down the houses of other ministers, and the prime minister and other ministers. The airport has stopped all operations, and so the whole place has just gone wild. And the wife of the prime minister has been killed, and so there's a revolution happening right there. But I think, obviously we don't want death. We don't want destruction. We don't want societies upending themselves, but we also don't want censorship. We don't want corrupt governments, and communism is an ideology that results in this massive separation of wealth. They say that they care about everybody else, but they don't. They care about themselves, and you have to sacrifice for them and for the good of your neighbors, which is what they want to bring to America. And, they tried a lot of this here. They censored many of us after January 6th, back during COVID. Everything we said was true, but they said it was disinformation and it was harmful and dangerous and all the crap. And so we have some empathy with the fact that they're trying to be silenced. Free speech is a natural God-given right to use it, and they tried to cut it off there in Nepal. Now they're facing the consequences of that. So we'll keep our eye on this, but things in Nepal are lit.